Daniel Price sat in his chair at the Grand Council chamber. The room was massive, built to hold representatives from 200 different alien species. Giant screens floated in the air, showing data and voting numbers. The seat reserved for Earth felt small compared to the ornate thrones that surrounded him. He had been humanity's ambassador for 3 years now. 3 long years of watching aliens treat his species like servants. 3 years of being ignored, mocked, and dismissed. Today was worse than usual. The Vrexian delegate stood at the center platform. The creature looked like a mix between a lizard and a bear, covered in purple scales. It spoke in a voice that echoed through the chamber. "The motion to restrict human trade routes passes with full support," the Vrexian announced. "Humanity may only use designated shipping lanes. All independent human trade operations must cease immediately." Daniel had tried to speak against this motion for weeks. He had presented evidence showing how this would hurt human colonies. He had explained that these restrictions would cut off supplies to frontier settlements. Nobody listened. The vote appeared on the screens. 199 votes in favor. 1 vote against, his vote, the only human vote in the entire council. Laughter filled the chamber. Not quiet chuckling, but loud, open mockery. The Vrexian delegate looked directly at Daniel and smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "The human objects," the Vrexian said, and the laughter grew louder. How unexpected. Daniel kept his face calm. He had learned not to show emotion here. Showing anger or frustration only made them laugh more. The other ambassadors had stopped even pretending to respect him months ago. The council moved to the next item. New taxes on human mining operations. Daniel already knew how this would go. He would object. They would ignore him. The vote would pass. The pattern never changed. As he expected, the motion passed with the same numbers. 199 to 1. The session ended 3 hours later. Daniel gathered his papers and walked toward the exit. Other ambassadors pushed past him without acknowledgement. A few bumped into him deliberately. One stepped on his foot. "Excuse me," Daniel said quietly. The alien, a floating jellyfish-like creature, didn't even look back. Daniel made his way to his office in the human sector of the station. The corridor was empty. Humans worked everywhere on the station, maintaining systems, cleaning, repairing equipment, but they were rarely seen in the diplomatic areas. They knew better than to draw attention. His assistant, Linda Shaw, looked up when he entered. She had been with him since the beginning. She could read his mood with just a glance. "That bad?" she asked. "Worse," Daniel replied. He moved to his desk and pulled out his secure communicator. "Linda, I need you to send a message to Earth. Maximum encryption. Route it through every security protocol we have." Linda's fingers moved across her console. "Ready when you are." Daniel spoke clearly into the device. "This is Ambassador Price, authorization code Delta 79 Black. Message for the President and the Colonial Council. They have gone too far this time. Today they laughed in our faces while voting to strangle our colonies. They treat us like slaves who should be grateful for their chains. I am formally requesting permission to begin Protocol Exodus." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "We have tried diplomacy. We have tried patience. We have tried everything except the one thing they would never expect. I recommend we stop trying. I recommend we leave. All of us. Every human in galactic space. No warnings. No threats. No negotiations. We simply walk away and let them figure out what they lost." He ended the recording. Linda sent it immediately. "Do you think they'll approve it?" she asked quietly. Daniel looked out his window at the stars beyond the station. Somewhere out there, human miners dug minerals from asteroids. Human engineers kept alien ships running. Human farmers grew food on colony worlds. Human doctors treated diseases the aliens couldn't cure. Humanity did the work that kept galactic civilization running, and they got nothing but contempt in return. "I hope so," he said. "I really hope so." 3 days later, his communicator chimed with a message from Earth. It contained only 2 words. "Begin Exodus." Daniel smiled for the first time in months. He opened a new communication channel, this one reaching every human facility, ship, and colony in known space. The message was simple. "This is Ambassador Price. Execute Protocol Exodus. Repeat, execute Protocol Exodus. No announcements. No explanations. Begin immediate withdrawal. Good luck to all of you." He closed the channel and looked at Linda. "Start packing," he said. "We're going home." The message reached Lisa Morgan in the middle of her sleep cycle. She woke immediately when her personal communicator buzzed with the emergency code. As colony administrator of New Portland on Kepler 442b, she knew what Protocol Exodus meant. They had all been briefed on it years ago, though most thought it would never actually happen. She dressed quickly and headed to the command center. The colony was home to 15,000 humans, all working on what the galaxy considered a frontier world. The planet was beautiful, with blue oceans and green forests. Humans had built their city near the coast where the weather stayed mild year-round. Other alien species lived on Kepler 442b too. The Zenthari had a settlement on the northern continent. A Vrexian mining company operated in the mountains. None of them paid much attention to the humans. As usual, they barely noticed humanity existed. That was about to change. Lisa called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. She kept it small. Only 5 people needed to know everything right away. Protocol Exodus is active, she told them. We begin preparations immediately. Her deputy, Carl Hughes, nodded slowly. How long do we have? Ambassador Price suggests we take our time. Look normal. Act normal. But start getting ready to leave. The head of logistics, Maria Bell, pulled up inventory lists on her tablet. We have 68 cargo ships registered to the colony. Most are on trade runs right now. Should I recall them? No, Lisa said. Let them finish their current jobs. But tell the captains not to accept any new contracts. We want this to look natural for as long as possible. The colony's chief engineer, Kevin Ross, leaned forward. What about the fusion reactor we installed for the Zenthari settlement? We maintain it under contract. Finish the current maintenance cycle, Lisa instructed. Then start reducing our involvement. Train their people if they want to learn. But make it clear we won't be available much longer. Don't explain why. Just make excuses. Over the next 3 weeks, New Portland changed in ways that no outsider would notice. Humans stopped buying property. They stopped starting new construction projects. The colonists began selling off equipment they couldn't take with them. The cargo ships returned one by one. As each arrived, Lisa had it loaded with supplies and parked in orbit. The other species on the planet saw ships coming and going, but that was normal. Humans were always busy with something. Lisa worked 18-hour days organizing the withdrawal. Every human on the planet needed transportation off-world. Every essential piece of equipment needed to be packed. Personal belongings had to be sorted. People had to say goodbye to homes they had built with their own hands. Some colonists asked why they were leaving. Because we're done being treated like we don't matter, Lisa told them. The galaxy had decades to respect us. They chose not to. So now we choose to leave, most understood. A few protested. They had alien friends, they said. They liked their lives here. Why should they leave because of what happened light years away? Lisa was patient but firm. Protocol Exodus means all humans. Every single one. We leave together or not at all. That's the only way this works. That's the only way we show them what they lost. The holdouts eventually agreed. On the 45th day after receiving the message, Lisa stood in the empty command center. Every computer had been wiped. Every file had been deleted. Every piece of human-made equipment that couldn't be moved had been disabled. The last transport waited for her outside. Kevin stood by the door. Ready? He asked. Lisa took one final look at the city she had helped build. 15 years of her life had gone into making New Portland a success. She felt a moment of sadness, but it passed quickly. Ready, she said. They boarded the transport and lifted off. Below them, the human city stood empty. The lights were off. The streets were quiet. In a few days, the other species on the planet would notice. They would wonder where everyone went. But by then, the humans would be gone. No warnings given. No explanations offered. Just empty buildings and silent streets. Lisa looked at the stars ahead and smiled. They were going home. Greg Palmer woke up at his usual time in his quarters aboard the mining station. He showered, dressed, and made himself coffee. Then he walked to the transport bay where his personal shuttle waited. By the time anyone noticed he was gone, he would be halfway to the jump gate. He was the last human on Tau Ceti Mining Station 7. His crew of 40 engineers and technicians had left over the past 2 weeks, 1 or 2 at a time. They had taken vacation days, claimed family emergencies, or simply said they were transferring to other jobs. The Vrexian managers barely noticed. Humans came and went all the time in their minds. Greg had stayed behind to make sure everyone else got out safely. Now it was his turn. He climbed into his shuttle and started the engines. The station's automated systems registered his departure but didn't flag it as unusual. He had clearance to come and go as he pleased. Within minutes, he was clear of the station and accelerating toward deep space. Behind him, Mining Station 7 continued its normal operations. Or at least it tried to. The Vrexian supervisors would arrive for their shift in 3 hours. They would discover that every human workstation was empty. Every human quarters was cleared out. Every maintenance log showed that humans had signed off their duties and left. 4 hours later, the first emergency calls went out. The Vrexian station commander, a massive creature named Thorax, stood in the empty human quarters section. He walked from room to room, finding nothing but bare walls and empty closets. His communications officer followed nervously. "Where are they?" Thorax demanded. "Unknown, Commander. Their personal locators are offline. Their shuttle registrations show departures over the past 15 days, but no destinations were filed." 15 days? And nobody noticed? The communications officer looked uncomfortable. "Humans manage their own schedules, sir. We didn't monitor them closely." Thorax felt something he rarely experienced: worry. The station operated 3 major mining processors. All 3 had been designed and installed by human engineers. The Vrexian workers knew how to operate them under normal conditions, but they didn't know how to maintain them. They didn't know how to fix them when something went wrong. "Get me the maintenance schedules," Thorax ordered. The communications officer pulled up the data. His face went pale, which for a Vrexian meant his scales turned from purple to gray. "Sir, Processor 2 is due for a critical maintenance cycle in 6 days. Without that maintenance, it will shut down automatically." "Can our people perform the maintenance?" "Silence, can they?" Thorax roared. "No, sir. The procedures are documented, but they require human-level precision and knowledge. We never learned because humans always did it." Thorax felt the worry turn to panic. He sent messages to the other mining stations in the system. The responses came back quickly. Humans were gone from all of them. Every single station had lost its human workforce within the past 2 weeks. The panic spread beyond Tau Ceti. The Galactic Council received 300 similar reports in a single day. Human workers had vanished from facilities across known space. Medical stations, research labs, cargo hubs, farming colonies. Everywhere humans had worked, they were now absent. The council called an emergency session. Daniel Price's seat was empty. His office had been cleared out 3 weeks ago, but nobody had paid attention. Humans were always reorganizing things. The Vrexian delegate who had mocked Daniel stood at the center platform. He didn't look amused anymore. "We need to contact Earth immediately," he said. "We need to demand an explanation for this mass desertion." The council agreed. They sent messages to Earth's diplomatic channels. They sent them to human colonies. They sent them to every known human contact in the galaxy. All received the same automated response. "Humanity thanks the galaxy for the opportunity to participate in galactic society. We are now pursuing other interests. Please do not contact us again." The Zenthari ambassador stood. "This is unacceptable. We have contracts with human workers. They cannot simply abandon their obligations." The automated response came again, this time with an addition. "All contracts have been fulfilled to their specified terms. Humanity has violated no agreements. We simply choose not to renew them." The council chamber erupted in confusion. Some species were angry. Some were worried. A few were starting to realize what this meant. The Vrexian delegate tried to call for order, but his voice was shaking. Mining Station 7 had just sent word that Processor 2 had shut down. Without human maintenance, 1/3 of the station's operations were now offline. It was happening everywhere. Humans hadn't just left their jobs. They had left the galaxy, and they weren't coming back. The first major crisis hit the Sirius commercial hub exactly 12 days after the last human left. The hub was one of the busiest trade centers in the galaxy. 500,000 aliens lived and worked there, buying and selling goods from across known space. The massive station orbited Sirius B, powered by 3 fusion reactors that humans had installed 20 years ago. When the warning lights started flashing in the reactor control room, nobody knew what to do. The Zenthari supervisor stared at the controls in confusion. The screens showed readings in human technical language. The procedures were documented in human writing. The maintenance schedule was based on human time measurements. Everything about the reactors was human-designed. "Call the human engineers," the supervisor ordered. "There are no human engineers," his assistant reminded him. "They all left last month." "Then call the humans who installed these reactors. They work for a human company based in the Sol system." "They are not accepting new contracts." The supervisor felt panic rising in his chest. The readings showed that Reactor 1 needed immediate maintenance. Without it, the reactor would automatically shut down in 6 hours. That was a safety feature the humans had built in. Losing one reactor meant the station would drop to 60% power. Non-essential systems would shut down. That included most of the commercial areas. The businesses would close. The trade would stop. He tried everything. He called every contact he had. He offered triple wages. He promised bonuses and long-term contracts. No humans responded. 6 hours later, Reactor 1 went offline. The lights in half the station went dark. Environmental systems switched to emergency mode. The temperature dropped. Business owners watched their shops lose power. Traders saw their storage facilities shut down. Within hours, the news spread across the galaxy. The Sirius hub, one of the most important trade centers in known space, was crippled. It wasn't alone. The jump gate at Alpha Centauri stopped working. Human technicians had maintained the delicate equipment for decades. Without them, the gate's calibration drifted out of alignment. Ships trying to use it found themselves kicked out of jump space in random locations. 3 ships were lost before they closed the gate entirely. That meant all traffic between the core worlds and the frontier colonies had to route through alternate gates. Journey times doubled. Shipping costs exploded. The medical research station at Proxima collapsed when its climate control failed. The station studied diseases from ice worlds, which meant it needed to maintain sub-zero temperatures. Human engineers had designed the cooling system. When it broke down, the temperature rose. Decades of research samples thawed and became worthless. Agriculture planets started reporting crop failures. Humans had installed irrigation systems and provided expertise on growing food in alien environments. Without human guidance, the farms produced half their normal yields. Food prices started climbing. The cascade effect was brutal and fast. Every system that humans had touched was failing. The galaxy realized too late that humans hadn't just done simple work. They had become essential to everything. The Galactic Council held another emergency session. This time the chamber was half empty. Many ambassadors couldn't reach the station because the jump gates weren't working properly. "We need to offer them whatever they want," the Xanthari ambassador said. "Full council representation. Equal voting rights. Better trade terms. Whatever it takes to bring them back." The Vrexian delegate shook his head. "We tried that. They won't respond. We sent envoys to the Sol system. They were turned away at the border. Earth's defense grid is active. They won't let anyone in." "Then we force them," someone suggested. "We send military ships. We demand they return." The room went quiet. Everyone knew that was impossible. Humanity had helped design most of the galaxy's military ships. They knew every weakness. They knew every trick. And Earth's defenses were legendary, built by human engineers who understood warfare better than any species in the galaxy. Nobody wanted to attack Earth. That would be suicide. "So what do we do?" the Xanthari ambassador asked. Nobody had an answer. On Earth, in a secure facility beneath Geneva, President Claire Bennett watched the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Her advisors sat around the table reading the data. "Infrastructure failing everywhere," one of them said. "Their economy is in free fall. Some species are talking about government collapse." "Good," Claire said simply. "Let them remember this. Let them remember what happens when you treat people like they don't matter." "What if they learn to fix things themselves?" another advisor asked. Claire smiled. "Then they'll learn humility. Either way, we win. We're not their servants anymore. We're not their backup plan. We're done." She stood and looked at the screen showing images of Earth. The planet was peaceful, prosperous, free. "Humanity is home," she said, "and we're staying here." The Galactic Council's envoy ships approached the Sol system with their weapons powered down and their diplomatic signals broadcasting on all frequencies. "They came in peace," they announced. "They came to negotiate." The human defense grid responded immediately. Captain Helen Brooks stood on the bridge of the orbital defense station, watching the alien ships on her screens. 3 Vrexian cruisers, 2 Xanthari diplomatic vessels and a council command ship, 6 ships total, carrying ambassadors who wanted to talk. Send them the standard message, Helen ordered. Her communications officer activated the automated response. The message was simple and had been recorded 3 months ago. It played in every major galactic language. This is the Sol Defense Network. Humanity is no longer accepting visitors. Our borders are closed. Any ship that crosses the designated boundary will be escorted out. Any ship that refuses will be disabled. Please respect our privacy and leave immediately. The envoy ship stopped at the boundary. They had learned not to cross it. 2 weeks ago, a Vrexian cargo ship had tried to push through. The defense platforms had disabled it in under 10 seconds, then towed it back beyond the border. The Council command ship sent a direct transmission. This is Ambassador Velix of the Galactic Council. We request permission to speak with human leadership. We wish to negotiate better terms for humanity's return to galactic society. Helen listened to the message and shook her head. Her orders were clear. No negotiations. No discussions. No contact. Send the standard response again, she told her officer. The message played a second time. The alien ships didn't move. They sat at the boundary waiting. They had been waiting for 2 days now. Helen knew they would eventually give up. They always did. She turned to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Jake Morrison. How long until the cloaking field is ready? Kyle Martinez says 3 more days. He's finishing the last calibration. Helen smiled. Soon the Sol system would vanish from galactic sensors entirely. No one would be able to find Earth even if they wanted to. Humanity would become a ghost story, a mystery that the galaxy couldn't solve. Deep in the Oort cloud, beyond the orbit of Neptune, Kyle Martinez worked in a facility that no alien had ever seen. The cloaking field generators surrounded the entire Sol system in a sphere of modified space. When active, they would bend sensor readings away from the system. To any ship scanning this region of space, it would appear empty, just another blank spot between the stars. Kyle checked his readings one more time. Everything looked good. The field would hide Earth, Mars, all the stations, all the ships. It would hide 12 billion humans and everything they had built. Running final test in 3, 2, 1, he announced. The generators hummed to life. Kyle watched his screens carefully. The readings showed exactly what he wanted. Perfect distortion. Perfect camouflage. Test complete, he reported. The field is ready. We can activate it any time the President gives the order. Back at the boundary of the Sol system, the envoy ships were still waiting. Ambassador Velix sent another message, this one more desperate than the first. Please, we need your help. Our infrastructure is failing. People are suffering. We are willing to offer full council membership, equal representation, guaranteed trade rights, and protection under galactic law. We recognize that we treated humanity poorly. We want to make things right. Helen read the message and felt nothing. She had been at the council station 5 years ago when they passed laws restricting human rights. She had watched aliens laugh at human protests. She had seen the contempt in their eyes. Too late, she whispered. The alien ships waited for 3 more days. They sent messages every hour, each one more desperate than the last. They offered money. They offered technology. They offered apologies. Helen ignored them all. On the 4th day, a new message came. This one was different. It came from a Xanthari medical ship that had just arrived at the boundary. This is Dr. Flix of the Xanthari medical fleet. We have a plague ship. 3,000 people are dying. We need human medical expertise. The disease is similar to one that human doctors cured 5 years ago. Please, we are begging you. Let us through. Help us save these people. Helen felt a moment of doubt. Thousands dying. That was different from politics or trade. That was actual lives. She called Earth directly. The President answered within minutes. I heard the message, Claire Bennett said. What do you think? I think they're desperate, Helen replied. I think they finally understand what they lost. But should we help? Helen was quiet for a moment. That's above my authority, Madam President. Claire looked at something off-screen, probably consulting with her advisors. When she looked back, her face was hard. Send them the medical data they need, free of charge, but tell them they have to implement it themselves. We're not sending doctors. We're not sending anyone. They want our help? They can have our knowledge. But they have to do the work, Helen nodded. It was fair. Harsh but fair. She sent the medical data to the plague ship. Then she watched as they retreated from the boundary, carrying the cure but no human assistance. The message was clear. Humanity would not let people die. But humanity was done serving the galaxy.